I saw him again this evening. His unmistakable shadow. It's been 3 days. I thought perhaps he gave up and moved on to torment others. I wanted to report him, but he hadn't actively done anything wrong. Yet. I wish I had never tried online dating. At the time, it just seemed so much easier to chat to people in my PJs with a cup of hot chocolate and not waste the time, energy, or the makeup. If only I had known. The winter darkness had set in. The unsettling stillness followed closely. The streetlights were ablaze. They had been for hours. Their fiery glow could only stretch so far, leaving increments of darkness outside their reach. I could picture him snaking between them, mocking me with his closeness. Dread shivered down my spine like an ice-cold claw beneath my skin. I leapt to my feet at a glimpse of every shadow, be it a stray leaf blowing in the cold breeze or a woman venturing out on a late-night walk with her dog. I cursed her stupidity. Does she not understand the dangers? Is she truly so blissfully unaware of what might lie in wait between the halos of light? Her dog let out a booming bark. I launched to my feet yet again and stared out the window, my heart pounding with fear, wondering what they had seen. The woman pulled her hood tighter around her face, shielding herself from the accelerating winds. "Sorry," I heard her shout into the night. Who was she talking to? Did she see someone I couldn't? Or had he slithered out of sight already? Adam could move like an assassin, silent but deadly. I dropped back down to the edge of my bed, wishing Ella would hurry home. My sister would calm me down, convince me that I was safe. He wouldn't risk her seeing him. He only showed the true extent of himself to me. What a privilege. A thud echoed downstairs and my eyes widened in instant panic. I told Ella to make sure every door was locked before she headed to town. I pictured the kitchen. Ella always leaves the window open after dinner to freshen the room up again. I bet she didn't close it before she left. She'd laugh if she heard me ponder whether a grown man who I went on a single date with might have climbed into her tiny kitchen window, but she didn't know him like I did. Another noise floated up the stairs, the sweeping sound of someone brushing along the coats that hung in the stairwell. I knew then, without a doubt, that I was no longer alone in the house. My legs almost buckled beneath me as I rose to my feet. My heart thudded so loudly in my chest I thought it might reach the open door before I did. I finally slid out onto the landing in the darkness of the hallway. If Adam could lurk in the shadows, then so would I. The stairs creaked, the person's movements silent otherwise. I pushed myself so close to the wall, I may well have turned the same painted shade of mushroom white, although my panic had surely deprived my cheeks of all color. Adam emerged from the stairwell, finally. It seems he had discovered where I lived, like I knew he would. My heart went from a hammering beat to all stopping completely. All but stopping completely. His heavy black coat glistened with raindrops. He must have been outside for hours. Why? He glided into the office across from me, delicately hovering over my work as he read through my open diary. He moved slowly, eerily reminiscent of a snake hunting down its prey. His shoes were the same leather loafers he wore to our date. They had chunky soles. I couldn't understand why they touched the floor so soundlessly. A hint of green caught my eye. A stray vine stuck to his back. He must have been in our garden. I took the opportunity to cross the stairs, trying to move as quickly and quietly as possible while fear filled my overstimulated ears. My woolen socks slipped on the second step and I crashed down to the third, fourth, fifth. I fell in a heap at the bottom. The landing creaked. I could feel Adam looking down at me now. I forced myself to look back, fighting against every grain of fear embedded in my body like static surrounding a balloon. He stood towering atop the stairs, his hands tucked casually in his pockets. He looked at me with affectionate amusement, the way you would at an ever-clumsy friend. Light from the arched window on the front door crossed to the stairs, glinting in his sparkling eyes. He looked pleased, excited even. "Allie, do you need some help?" He offered me his hand. The stretched shadow behind him doubled and tripled until the outline plastered on the walls around it. A squeal escaped my lips. I slapped a hand over my mouth. Don't show fear. I pushed myself up, my ankle throbbing from my fall. The hallway floor made of varnished wood. didn't allow my thick socks much traction, but I did my best. My legs supported me with fear alone, abusing the fight-or-flight instinct. I darted around the corner, hearing his steps right on my heel. He followed me casually, wordlessly. His silent amusement was even worse than his taunting words. The second corner was not as kind. I slipped at the door and plummeted across the tiled kitchen, slamming into the cupboards. I watched the garden light flash brightly and shatter within its plastic covers. I felt Adam come to a stop behind me. I glanced over my shoulder. Adam was watching me with pity from the kitchen door. I pushed myself further away from him, but my hip throbbed in its socket, making me cry out in pain. I tried to get back up, but my elbow wouldn't allow it. I must have smacked it as well. He drifted closer and stopped again, about a foot away, out of my reach. I could do nothing as he adjusted the legs on his trousers and squatted to the floor. Allie, you're hurting yourself. Let me get you some ice and we can go for a drive. We need to talk properly, face to face. I tried once more to scramble away, but my bruised body resisted. My fear took over, and in an instant I could no longer fight. I could hardly find the will to breathe. I bowed my head and leaned against the wall, realizing there's nothing more I could do. The hallway light illuminated the sight of his sunken face in the dark kitchen. All I wanted is to be back at the dinner table with my sister when I was safe. He considered me for a moment, leaning down to eye level. He crouched on the balls of his feet, but he supported himself on his arms. They arched outwards sickeningly. I found myself wondering if his elbows would simply snap, but his subtle grin showed no sign of discomfort. His hot breath grazed my nose, and his green eyes pierced into mine. I studied them, realizing abruptly that his pupils were just slits in the glowing green abyss. My heart raced again as my stomach lurched. I had never felt such terror before. He leaned closer, his neck bending like it was made out of rubber. I tried to wiggle back closer to the wall, as far away from Adam as his invading glare could reach. A car engine rumbled to a stop outside. He heard it too, and his eyes widened. I forced a triumphant smile through my pain and fear. Ella's home. As the keys jingled outside, he slinked over to the ajar window. With a final glance and a disappointed shrug, he crawled out the window like an insect escaping capture. Revolting. Ella pushed the door open and sauntered in proudly, her arms filled with movie-watching treats. Our dog, Cooper, danced at her feet, delighted after his trip in the car. She gasped when she spotted me bundled on the floor, bruised, tearful, and trembling. What happened? She darted over, tripping on Cooper, who desperately tried to lick my face as the petrified tears turned to those of relief and helped me slowly to my feet. I told her the story while Cooper cuddled close. We agreed that this time we would have to get someone to help. I opened a new tab on my phone and searched plane tickets to LA. It was time to get away.